Welcome to Rabbit Radio, Volume 2, Issue number 11. This month's song is called Cross the River, a road song, a song of self-discovery, of adventure. It's inspired by a cross-country trek that a now dear friend of ours took in the summer of 2012. Actually ended in the summer of 2012. It took him 11 months to walk across the USA from Philadelphia to San Francisco. His name is Andrew, and while the song that I wrote doesn't necessarily follow his journey strictly, it's certainly inspired by him. I imagined what it might be like to quell the panic of being out there all on your own, the uncertainty of not knowing who you were going to run into, the excitement of not knowing who you were going to run into on your solo journey across wherever it was. But of course, I had to make it into more of a song. And I put myself in there too, in some way. The first tour that I did when I was exactly his age seemed to me to be the most exciting thing, and while I did it a lot faster and a lot safer, maybe, seeing something new every day and meeting new people every day is something that's really exciting. I remember I filmed the skylines of like the most boring Midwestern cities on that first tour, like Columbus, Ohio, and Oklahoma City, and I was like, man, there's nothing better than seeing the world in this way. So I related to Andrew's gung-ho enthusiasm and putting himself out there. I rewrote the first two lines of the song probably 12 times. What's in there now is found a phone in an Arby's parking lot. Forgot your number, so I saved the time I bought. See, I turned it into kind of like a road movie, a romance. There had to be someone waiting at home for me on the other end of the song to make it into a song. So that's sort of where I diverted from Andrew. Not that there weren't people who were like terrified that their 23-year-old kid set off on foot across country, but I had to make it a little more like, I don't know, Cameron Crowe. Say anything. John Cusack. I wanted just like a whiff of cheese without completely falling overboard. To have the song start off with this phone call, and then I spend the rest of the song walking back to you, and I'm not sure if you're there or if I'll be the same person and if you will be waiting for me. I wanted it to be innocent and big enough so that everyone could relate to it, while somehow still pointing to our very brave young friend who is now, because of the open-heartedness with which he tackled this trip, his dreams are coming true. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, you know? Our buddy Andrew, in the wake of this trip, has a book deal, and people want to hear his story. I think you guys want to hear his story too. We were lucky enough to score the radio documentary version of his travels. He had carried around a little recorder with him and interviewed people. Because of his personality, he was able to coax out some of the most sort of spontaneous wisdom from old ladies from Alabama, cowboys from Texas, Native Americans from New Mexico. I mean, there is some absolutely stunning American history in Andrew's piece. I work a lot in the box, very synthetic drum programming worlds that are far from real, but when surrounded with just a few organic elements, a real drum track, a real bass track, a real guitar, something with a little air and movement around it, a little lilting or stuttering, it all of a sudden focuses those machine-like elements and lets them come to life. I played the very first sketch for Carla, and there was absolutely no room for any amount of lyrics to go on the top of it. I got every idea that I had ever come up with in music and put it on this 3-minute and 40-second freight train of waveforms. And so then I nipped and tucked and cross-faded and reversed. Most of my lyrics arrive from caveman-style gruntings. I just plug a Shure Green Bullet mic right into our mic preamp, and I crank it up and I have it against my mouth like this, and I just kind of... I should have a translator for what I'm saying, but occasionally an actual word will emerge from it. And I try like hell to dive into that one word to see if it has the possibility of becoming two, or a sentence that can then inspire another sentence and become a verse or something, and then I try like hell to make that into a story. We don't have a lot of resources here at Bossi Studios. The one vocal mic that we were using for everything really was starting to malfunction. I just grabbed a 58 and used that because that was my only option and because I knew I had to work at home. And I called my friend Joel Hamilton. I was like, Joel, how do you make an SM58 sound like a U47? And he very dryly said, tape a $10,000 bill to it. So I did. I cut out a piece of green construction paper and I wrote in black Sharpie 10,000 and I sang into it. I took the home recorded tracks over to John's and they were an abomination. He really had to work his magic to bring them into accordance with the laws of palatable music. I'm not quite sure what this song sounds like. It's really up-tempo with uplifting harmonic structure, but maybe devastating and sad words. There's something about Andrew's journey which tells us all that's, you know, we don't have to buy into the traditional trappings of life. We don't need a lot to be fulfilled. Just a baby carriage and a mandolin and a willingness to listen. If I was to completely change those 3 words into something that was maybe more applicable to myself, it would be a bus, some boots, and just the courage to march on regardless of the uncertainties that are no doubt there.
Found a phone in an Arby's parking lot. Forgot your number, so I kept the time I'd bought. Crossed the river on the other side. Not sure I'm still alive, but if I am, I'll sing a song about you. La 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 la. The words will come before I'm done, I'm fairly certain of it. I I'm shouting stories to the wind, crushing fireflies. Don't think I'll come tonight, but if I do, I'll find a way to tell you.